Okay, calling a meeting to order. Um, Looking at agenda point number 2, we're gonna go on to emergency responder monthly reports. And also just to note, right now we do not have quorum, so we are going to go ahead and just stick to announcements from our emergency responders and city, state, federal reports until we have quorum. Should have a few members showing up shortly. But if we have a representative from the Honolulu Fire Department. How's it, Captain? I don't know.
Late.
Early. Too early. Some late.
Good evening. Clay Madrona, Captain, Kahalu'u Fire Station, 2nd Platoon. The stats for the month of June, we had 3 rubbish fires, 1 activated alarm, 42 medical emergencies, 5 motor vehicle crash or collisions, and 1 hazardous material incident. The safety tip for this month deals with heat safety. Hawaii has some of the highest average annual relative humidity in the country. When it is too humid, our bodies have a harder time cooling down, which can lead to heat-related illnesses. In the past decade in Hawaii, the average number of hot and humid days and very warm nights have more than doubled due to climate change and are expected to increase. Make sure you are prepared for the heat by keep cool using fans and air conditioning units, wear lightweight, loose-fitting clothing, drink lots of water, stay out of the direct sun. If you do go in the sun, wear hats and use an umbrella. Check on your neighbors at high risk or who are at high risk of heat-related illnesses. And for more resources about heat illnesses, you can go to www.heat.gov.
Any questions, members? All right, appreciate it. Thanks,
Good
Captain.
evening.
You too, thank you. Moving on to Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm Lieutenant Sanford Yu. I'll present the stats for you from June. Motor vehicle thefts were down from 3 to 2. Burglaries were down from 2 to 1. General thefts increased from 2 to 3. Motor vehicle break-ins decreased from 3 to 1, and there were no robberies. I'd be willing to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions from the members? Community. Okay. Thanks, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Good night.
Have a good night. Okay, we're gonna skip agenda point number 3, filling of the vacancies due to lack of quorum, and move on to city, state, federal reports. First on the agenda is going to be Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Oh, I think I have the. Yeah, I think that's this, right? Yep. Okay. So I do have the memo that was sent over by the mayor's office, so I'm just going to go ahead and read that aloud. Highlights and announcements. This month's highlights from the mayor's newsletter include FestPac, the world's largest cultural gathering of Pacific Island nations that came to Honolulu. With eyes on future recreational uses, the city takes over ownership of 400 acres of former Navy land in Kahalu'u. The city opens a new facility to help homeless individuals suffering from wounds or illnesses get off the streets. Mayor Rick Blangiardi and city officials kick off a project to install a canopy of thousands of solar panels atop the Blaisdell Center parking structure. Skyline, the city's rail transit system, celebrates its first year in operation and welcomes aboard its 1 millionth ride. The July 2024 edition of the mayor's newsletter can be found online at www.8.honolulu.gov/mayor/newsletter. Summer fun. The Department of Parks and Recreation is still looking for plenty of staff to help put the fun in summer fun. These jobs are an excellent way to gain experience in the childcare field while earning a minimum $16 an hour in a dynamic work environment with dozens of program sites around Oahu. For more information, visit bit.ly/summerfunjob. There were a few department issue follow-ups that they wanted to send our way as well. The first was regarding the Hei'ikea Boat Harbor to He'ia State Park on Kamehameha Highway walkthrough request. There were two concerns from Auntie Rocky. The first was, can the city assist with the relocation of the homeless that live in the middle of the Hei'ikea Boat Harbor? There's a shelter made out of pallets, and that has been there for 2 years, but it appears that the individual is only active at night. What is the process to get CORE to do a walkthrough on Kamehameha Highway starting from He'ia State Park to the He'ia Boat Harbor? And can the city start a project for a new sidewalk from the pier entrance to the bus stop? Honolulu Emergency Service Department, CORE, responded saying that the team went out to the Kaneohe area and attempted to outreach the places listed below. There were a few encounters made that each have their own ICS completed. During outreach, they encountered a Cassandra, who is a liaison for the DOE. The team was able to exchange contact information with her for future collaboration. The team did not outreach from approximately, the team did outreach from approximately 1:30 p.m. and returned at 4:30 p.m. Places visited included Hei'ikea Boat Harbor, He'ia State Park, the bus stop on Kawa Street, Kaneohe Community Park, Kaneohe Civic Center Neighborhood Park, Ben Parker Elementary School, Kaneohe District Park, Kaneohe Police Station and Library, and the Kaneohe Bay Shopping Center. And the second note that they wanted to get back to us on regarded the subaward for the Climate Champion Program. So Joe Watt from Key Project would like to know if there's any way to expedite the subaward for the climate change program that's with the Office of Climate Change, Resilience, and Sustainability. The program usually starts at the beginning of May, and he has hired someone, so he is concerned that the subaward will not be available in time. Please send the answer directly to Joe. So the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency responded saying that they contacted Joe from Key Project on May 24, providing information on the timeline to date and next steps still ahead. CCSR included Councilmember Wire and staff on that communication. And that is going to be the end of the mayor's report. Any questions from community members or board members? Online. Okay. Moving on, we have Councilmember Esther Kia-Aina.
Aloha. Hello and
Hello.
good evening, everyone. I have two announcements. First, as many of you know, as the state is trying to look at newer alternative energy sources, the U.S. Department of the Interior's Bureau of Ocean Energy Management had announced that Hawaii would be one of the sites that they are going to be looking at for offshore wind, which is in federal waters in the exclusive economic zones. And so I'm working with the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board, and on July 31st at 5:30 at Waimanalo Elementary and Intermediate School, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management will be coming out to Hawaii to provide us with an educational briefing on exactly what it is that they do with regard to offshore wind nationally, relating to their permitting processes, including what their interest is with regard to Hawaii. So I encourage anyone who is interested in this issue to please come to this meeting. I understand that apart from the fact that it will be in federal waters, they need a cable to land physically. And it's going to be on the windward side in Kaneohe. And so it's just something that I think is critically important for our communities because it will involve federal, state, and city processes. I think there's so much for us to learn about what went wrong with regard to Kahalu'u. It's something we're dealing with regard to the windmills that are there. And I just think that I'm all in favor of looking at these resources, but we need to make sure that the community is fully informed at the outset rather than after the fact. Second, I know I've talked a lot about formerly Bill 10, now Bill 64, 2023, relating to the land use ordinance. And I know that a lot of people on the neighborhood board and the community is very interested in our consideration of agricultural use before the Committee on Planning and the Economy, which I chair. And so we will be finally considering this use on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. before the committee. I anticipate that it will take at least 3 committee hearings. So that would be August, September, and October to consider the various concerns that have been expressed by communities and before I formally adopt or come to conclusion on the amendments and wrap Bill 64 up. As many of you know, I've already gone through a multitude of uses. After agricultural use, I intend to finish with miscellaneous use, and after that, I'm going to be moving Bill 64 through the legislative process and eventually to final enactment. And that's my report, Chair, and I'm open to any questions that anyone may have.
Any questions for a council member? Jesse?
Mahalo, Councilmember Kiaina. Quick question for the Bureau of Ocean Energy, the meeting that's going to take place in Waimanalo. Will Chair Kimiona Kane be facilitating this meeting?
You know, I haven't determined that yet in concert with him. Would you like him to?
I would like him to. I feel like he's
Yes.
probably one of the
I'll
better
talk to him about
experts.
it. He was
Yeah.
the one who requested it, and so this would be in concert with the neighborhood board. My first task was he wanted someone. He sent it out to several of us to secure the meeting, and so I volunteered because I know the director of BOEM. We used to work together. But their team responded immediately because they have regional directors. So their regional director will be coming with their top scientists. It's not out of the question that the BOEM director wouldn't come as well. So that is a very good suggestion. I just wanted to make sure that all of the neighborhood boards were fully informed. And I think he would be a wonderful facilitator.
I think so as well. I do want to ask, since it's coming to Kaneohe, I don't mind it. I think it's great to have it in Waimanalo, especially because Kimiona is an expert in cultural things as well as environmental things. But would it behoove the community at large to do some sort of collaboration with Kaneohe Neighborhood Board and Kahalu'u
Absolutely.
Neighborhood Board as well?
Absolutely. So the actual proposed site, and if you don't mind, I will follow up via email and you can share it with the board. Kahalu'u Energy is I think it was called Progression before. Noi Kalipi is one of the leads. They had presented to the board and they've provided the PowerPoint. There is no singular entity that has already been determined. They would have to compete. But my understanding is the reason why Waimanalo is gravely concerned is because the location is between Molokai and Waimanalo of the actual siting of the windmills. And after the windmills, and supposedly the Department of Defense has, they've been negative to any offshore wind because of impacts to U.S. national security in the Hawaiian chain. And supposedly they have identified this site. And if they're going to be sending out an RFP for proposals, but they need the second step, which is to have a cable that goes on land. And so both Waimanalo, geographically, the waters, as well as Kaneohe and I'm sorry, the whole windward side would be impacted by this. And as a result, I think that, again, we have so much to learn by this process, given some of the challenges that we face with regard to permitting processes for the windmills on land. And I think we just have so much to learn, not only about what BOEM does, but also how they fit in with the rest of DOI. I've already made it clear to them, and I'll follow up with the Office of Native Hawaiian Relations. There's so many other agencies in there, and they can't be acting on their own, right? So BOEM is kind of new to Hawaii, so don't come out to Hawaii and act like you don't know anything about the community. U.S. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. National Park Service, Office of Native Hawaiian Relations has a presence here. They need to be engaged and understand that BOEM is only a part of the Department of Interior. The overall mission of the Department of Interior is to protect our land and natural resources here and to advocate for Indigenous rights. And so I personally welcome their interest in renewable energy, but they have to contextualize the environment in which they're coming. This is not like the continent.
Thank you, Esther. I'm in agreement, Kahalu'u, that statement. Could I ask or suggest, since your office is facilitating this with the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board, that possibly we could get an email connecting the rest of the neighborhood boards of the areas that may be affected, so that
is a
the chairs or executive members can come in collaboration to
Yes, that
support.
would be a wonderful idea. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I am having my, and Kim, could you please just put in the chat room, the chat box, the date and time for the event? And then what I'm doing is I'm creating a flyer for circulation. I would welcome everyone's attendance at this event, and we are allocating 2 hours. So I'm hoping for them to give an introduction of themselves. What is their process for offshore wind permitting, including in Hawaii? And then I've allocated a question and answer period. And we have deliberately allocated the 2 hours. Very often it's a 1.5 hours, but because they're kind of new players here, we want to make sure that we get as much information, and they were very open to that as well. And very sensitive of the fact that they're kind of new players into town. And I said that while you're a new player, the Department of Interior is not a new player. So don't forget that. And you need to educate us on how you fit in within the apparatus and how you're going to work with all of your other missions in Interior to make sure that you look after the interests of the people of Hawaii.
Mahalo, Council Member. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Jesse. Uncle Ken, online.
Yeah, I'd like to offer a couple suggestions. One is Marine Corps Base Hawaii has been engaged in wave energy power creation for like a decade. It's ongoing. And one of the nicest things about wave generated energy is it's always there, much more so than wind, because when the wind stops, it takes a while for the waves to go down. And when the wind starts back up again, it comes back up again reliably. And so wave energy is much more tolerable by the general population because of the visual impact of wind energy. Now, another thing is you can have hybrid wind and wave energy creation, which ultimately goes through the same cable to the land in terms of the power that it generates. So if your office could look into wave wind hybrid energy,
Yeah.
and also the numerous forms of wave energy being generated out there, it's much less of an obstacle for viewing issues, and it does create a very steady form of energy. And there are, like I said, numerous types. In fact, they just had a whole new set of winged power sources. So I'm sorry, it's something it would be, when I was doing networks on computers, there were 2,000 pages written every day. Okay, it's almost like that.
Yeah.
That's how heavy it is with the wave energy creation. So, it would be terrible if we missed out on that by giving some of these new guys a chance to try their effort here in Hawaii. And it can be hybrid. It could be put in the same area.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a suggestion. We could be. I'm sorry. We could do a lot of things. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that suggestion. I'm going to keep that in mind and highlight it for them when they come. Quite frankly, Ocean Thermal, I'm disappointed because we've known about it for decades, and it's never quite gotten off the ground for a multitude of reasons. But I do like the idea about hybrid energy sources. I am familiar with solar and wind in the Marshall Islands, for example, because the salt water is infiltrating into their freshwater system. They don't have access, and so what they're doing is they're merging their wind and their wind and solar just to get energy. Yeah. And of course, try to provide for fresh water as well. But I was not familiar with any hybrid of ocean energy and wind. And well, number one, it's duly noted. But number two, I highly recommend, come on, you can drive down to Waimanalo for the meeting. We,
I'd like to mention that this is not ocean thermal energy at all.
okay.
Now, you bring up a third option that could possibly be done. Okay. I'm talking about simple wave energy. I
Okay.
mean, take a look at a buoy sitting on the surface with some means to connect to a solid object anchored on the ocean floor. The buoy goes up and down like a bicycle, and it turns a wheel. That wheel creates energy. That is
And I
a
think we'll
summary
let
of
the
all
council
the
member go ahead
numerous
and
types. So
follow up
there's
on
a
that.
lot of
Thank you so
different
much.
ways it can
Thank you
happen.
so much. Okay, wave and ocean energy.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
again.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, council member. Oh, one more question from Uncle Ed. Could you speak in the mic? Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, this is addressed to the councilwoman, and I'm glad that she said that she understands about the energy, because everything on earth depends on energy, whether night or day. And what we're focusing on in this conversation is the production of energy and control of which sources to use and emphasize. But within the past year or so, there's been an exponential demand for more electricity regarding 5G technology, artificial intelligence, and also blockchain technology regarding the cryptocurrencies. And China came out a couple of years back, they banned cryptocurrency because of the demand on electricity. So my question to you at this point, has there any studies been done regarding the overall grid demands for electricity versus the increasing supply of electricity? Because from what I've heard, the demand is increasing exponentially, and it's placing a demand on the grid system, and we're getting symptoms of it. Even on my daily experience, and I don't know if anybody else experienced this too, you're talking on the iPhone now, and I get 3 interruptions, drop power, okay, to different people with different carriers. To me, that's an indication of something going wrong with the system, but nobody's really addressing it yet. So my request is just that if you have any information to share regarding the increases in the demand versus supply of electricity.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My staffer Kim is going to, is noting that, and I will follow up. It's not something that I could do on my own. I think I need to do an assessment on what HECO has done, what the state of Hawaii has done, their energy office, of course, as well as the you know, I know the federal government is looking at it nationally, but the U.S. Department of Energy might also have data with regard to Hawaii and the Pacific region. So if you don't mind, I will work with some of my other colleagues and let me see what's on the books on that. And I will report back to you at the next neighborhood board meeting. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Councilmember. Appreciate it. Okay. Just to let everybody know, we do have quorum now with 9 members present, but we are going to go ahead and stick to the current agenda and continue forward with Councilmember Matt Wire's office. Do we have Kelly online? Uncle Ray?
I just had something that I wanted to put forward to Esther. And that is that I noticed this board quite some time ago about the fact that as sea level rise begins to affect us, that there's a potential that it could bankrupt the city and the state if government was expected to buy out the properties. And there was a news story a couple nights ago about the fact that the situation of homeowners along the coastal zone areas, it's being sent to, quote, the science to figure out what the best solution is. And Attorney Bernie Bays, representing the homeowners, actually suggested that one of the options might be that the land could get condemned and homeowners get compensated. So it's a FYI. I think maybe the council and the state needs to think about a position on this. Otherwise, going to run all of us broke on this situation.
And I know you didn't expect me to answer that, but let me just say that with regard to several laws that ordinances that we recently passed with regard to shoreline setback, that issue came up. I don't believe it's fair for a lot of rich people who bought up the shorelines, knowing full well what was anticipated, that they're going to be compensated. So the dialogue did come up before the city council. And if that type of compensation were to always to move forward at the county or state level, I can assure you that there would be criteria, and that would be to target those families who have been on the property for a certain period of time. And we're looking at multi-generational families, right? We're not looking at people who are speculating, coming to Hawaii, buying it up and thinking that we're going to be compensating them for that, knowing full well what was happening. But thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Thanks, Uncle Ray. Thanks, Councilmember. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. Okay. Moving forward to Councilmember Matt Wire's office. Do we have Kelly online? Okay. No representative from Councilmember Wire's office. So moving on to Board of Water Supply. Do we have Barry Usagawa online? Okay. No representative from Board of Water Supply. Moving on to Governor's office. We have Katie Ducat.
Aloha. So sharing the governor's message from the newsletter this month, highlighting inspiring graduations on the neighbor islands and celebrating the signing of bills to help with the cost of living in Hawaii. We also signed bills supporting our Native Hawaiian communities, making healthcare more accessible, and helping our healthcare workforce stay in Hawaii. In addition, we share a glimpse of a historic event that we were deeply honored to have hosted, the 13th Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture, FestPac. And it was really awesome. Actually, I hope people were able to see some of it or a lot of it. This extraordinary 10-day festival provided a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to showcase Hawaii's cultural heritage and build deeper connections within our Pacific Islander nations. So mahalo to all the cultural practitioners, artisans, and the commissioners who worked tirelessly for years alongside our dedicated festival director, Aaron Salah, to bring FestPac to fruition. Also, thank you to our indigenous institutions and nonprofits and our community for making this a successful festival. This has been an amazing endeavor, and we are proud of how our diverse nations came together to make this extraordinary event a reality. And I do have hard copies of the newsletter, but I know that it's also available via your shared folder. There was one matter from the last meeting involving the Kahalu'u roundabout. Governor's office and rep was asked to follow up with the State Department of Transportation. So I do have a report on that. Our estimated, and this is coming from the State Department of Transportation. So estimated completion date is March 2025. The last public notice, and it's there's a website link, and Rachel, you got that, right? You're able to. So if you go into the folder, you'll be able to see this link, and it directs you to the information with regard to the public notice for the roundabout. The project website with a 3-week look ahead and construction schedule is also available at a website link that will be available via the shared drive. And there is also a project hotline at 808-476-0490. Per the project manager, work in the current phase will be behind the barricades until we are able to get a noise variance to pave at night. That is estimated for some time this month. When the single lane closures for paving are scheduled, we will put out a notice. Interested parties can sign up for our notices at https://public.gov/accounts/high./subscriber/news. So again, the link is long and it's available in the shared folder. Please also note that we have turned on temporary lighting at various locations within the work area in response to community concerns. The project manager said that if that is not sufficient, let us know and we can adjust. So if there's any feedback I can take back, or any questions on that I can take back, or any other issue that I can take back to the Gov's office.
Any questions or concerns from members? Anyone online? We have Donald.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Donald Sakamoto, blind individual. I'm worried about, as a blind individual, we are trained by Ho'opono State Agency for the Blind to make sure that we listen to perpendicular and parallel traffic so we can cross safely. We'd like to make sure that there's some kind of audio beacon for our roundabouts so we know where to go as blind individuals to traverse easily so we don't get hit by an automobile and get injured. So could you relay that to Department of Transportation?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Donald. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it. Moving on to Senator Brenton Awa's office.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hi, Elizabeth. Oh, sorry. 1 second, Elizabeth. Donald, do you have something else to say before we move on?
Yeah, I forgot to talk about the erosion for North Shore. In January, I attended the environmental meeting between the Senate and the House, and Department of Transportation State said it would cost $15 billion to fix the highways on the North Shore. I don't know where they're going to get the money because that's more than what the rail costs, but just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Donald. We'll have Gov's office follow up on that for us. Go ahead, Elizabeth. Senator Brenton Awa's office.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, board members, and members of the community. I'm Elizabeth Tavake, delivering this month's report on behalf of Senator Awa. Unfortunately, Senator Awa is currently attending the military lease meeting in Kahalu'u. He wanted to be here to deliver some good news and just a lot more information. But I'm pleased to start with some positive news. Several months ago, Senator Awa had reached out to the community to apply for agriculture grants aimed at combating the coconut rhinoceros beetle and supporting green waste management. But I'm thrilled to announce that a total of $293,000 has been awarded across 2 separate grant programs. Specifically, $175,000 has been allocated for CRB control and management, benefiting 7 different groups with grants up to $25,000. Notably, 4 4 of these groups are from Senate District 23, with 2 of the 4 located in Kahalu'u. In addition to this achievement, I'd like to inform the community that the Department of Agriculture is currently still accepting applications for the micro grant under the Food Security Program. Individuals can receive up to $5,000, while organizations are eligible up to $10,000. Chairperson Sharon Hurd was out at our CRB meeting that we had at Kahalu'u Elementary. She encourages all eligible parties to apply or share the opportunity with those who can benefit. They are going to be accepting applications up until August 12th. There's more information on the website. I can put that in the chat after I give my report. Like the representative from the governor's office had mentioned, I'm just going to touch up on some things that she had already mentioned regarding the Kahalu'u runabout construction. We have been actively engaged with the Hawaii Department of Transportation. Concerns were raised about the street lighting between 7-Eleven and the hygienic store. Hawaii Department of Transportation has confirmed that all street lighting at the intersection remains largely unchanged, except for one light under the banyan tree, which has been shifted back in preparation for construction. The crosswalk from the 7-Eleven corner to the hygienic store has been relocated closer to the church. Temporary lighting has been installed to ensure accessibility, with plans to include pedestrian push buttons for the visually impaired. Our office has also received numerous calls and emails regarding the traffic congestion entering Kahalu'u from the countryside. Senator Wah promptly contacted Director Sniffen about this issue, and as a result, a temporary left turn lane onto Kamehameha Highway and a through lane to continue onto Kaikili Highway were implemented. While these changes have alleviated some traffic, congestion persists near the roundabout area, partly due to vendor activities. We're exploring options to collaborate with vendors to address this issue. I think as of now, that's probably all that I have for now. If there's any questions or concerns, I can take back with me to Senator Awal.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Any questions from members in person? Uncle Ken, online.
Yeah, this is more of a comment. I recently saw a video from the Mediterranean in which a rhinoceros beetle is walking along a concrete floor in some sort of like a city or state building. And I'm just so glad, lucky I live Hawaii. We're at least trying to get on it, but we got to do a lot more work. Mahalo.
Thanks, Uncle Ken. Jesse, go ahead.
Kalamai, real quick, Liz, could we ask DOT for a sign or temporary sign prior to hitting the end of the guardrail in front of the Baptist church, showing that there is a left turning lane and a through lane next to the banyan tree, because those who are not familiar with our community don't realize that those are turning and through lanes, and that will help alleviate some traffic, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you. I will take that back to Senator, and we agree. Yesterday, I sat with Senator near the vendors for a couple of hours so that we can just kind of watch the traffic and see what exactly is still causing a lot of the traffic and the backup and congestion. And yeah, I will definitely take that back to him. I think that would definitely help.
Mahalo.
Uncle Rick.
Couple meetings back, I noticed Senator about asking him if he could check in with State Historic Preservation Office as to why there's such a backlog, and if the state needs to put some more money towards that department for staffing and that kind of thing. I just wondered if there was any follow-up. Mahalo.
Thank you for that. I don't have an update for that, but I will take back to Senator Awal, and we will update you either next month at the next meeting, or I can get back to you via email sooner than that.
Awesome. Thanks, Liz. Uncle Ken, online one more.
Yeah, I'm concerned about Alice. Alice is usually at our meetings. This might be early since we're about 15 minutes earlier from our normal start time. Senator Awa's office try to reach out to her to see if there are any issues that she had that were not addressed at this meeting, especially regarding the roundabout. As far as I can tell, and I've been there twice since then, her issues have been addressed, but she might have other issues. And I just would hope that his office could do something. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe as far as what I saw and remember from last meeting, Alice did bring up the crosswalk. And so I believe that has been addressed, with a temporary crosswalk there for now while it's still under construction. But if she has any other concerns, she's more than welcome to come to the board and bring those up to us. Jesse, go ahead.
Sorry, Chair. Liz, if you don't mind, I'll take that question from Uncle Rick for Shipty. So last I checked with Shipty, they had several vacancies and they're changing their director. I believe they have the funding, but possibly not the applicants. So maybe we should push out that there's job availability at Shipty to help alleviate the load there. If Senator Awa's office could assist in that, making those, highlighting that there's vacancies at Shipty, that might be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Will do.
Thanks, Jesse. Donald, online?
Yeah, Chair, just to let you know, I know Alice Talbert personally. She's a blind friend of mine. So I'll relay the information to her to contact Senator if she has any concerns. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Any other questions or concerns for Liz and Senator Awa's office? Uncle Cliff?
So this project will be at least 2 more years, right?
They said March 2025,
It's
expected to
about 2
finish.
years plus. They better get with the program because this back road is coming a racetrack now. So people don't live in a neighborhood is using that back road. And it was the other day when they was pouring concrete out there. I was back to Temple Valley Shopping Center. I used all the back roads, crossover there and everything. And you know who was following me? On 6-passenger stretch out taxi was coming to the back road. So they better get with the program and stop, they're always going to come up with rain. Yes, rain, but now summertime, you got to work them. Work them and then you can rest during the winter time.
Thanks, Uncle Cliff. Appreciate it. Liz, one more thing. I think I think a couple people have also brought up the fact that the concrete guard rails that line the side of the road on the 7-Eleven side, they're very high, especially for low cars. So if you're not driving something tall like an SUV or a truck, it's hard to see oncoming traffic just to even take that right turn to head to the North Shore. So if you can address or get that addressed with DOT via Senator Awa, that'd be appreciated as well.
For sure. A couple of things I forgot to mention. So Director Snifford had reached out to Senator Awa asking when we spoke to him about the community's concerns, he reached back to us and asked us if he should just close off that left turn going into Kamehameha Highway. And Senator Awa had told him that that probably wasn't a good idea. He didn't want to separate the community. And plus that road was much needed. So that's why the second option was doing that left turn. I will bring up to him what you just had mentioned, Chair. But then secondly, we too were kind of surprised at the extension of the entire project moving out to March 2025, because initially at the groundbreaking, they had announced, I think, 8 months, which would have been by now. We were more concerned that they were going to, what the budget would be if there was going to be an increase in budget. But according to HDOT, the budget remains the same, although there's nearly a year extension, that the budget's still 9.5 million, and that there hasn't been an increase. But I will add on back to the info to take back to Senator Awa in regards to the concrete barrier.
Awesome, Mahalo. Thank you very much. Any other concerns from the community? Uncle Dan? This is for Senator Awal's office.
know if there's a plan. I think you can hear, anybody not hear me?
Well,
You got those candidates night plan that we talk to, but if you know, I don't. I know he's running, Dick is running. Yes, staff that. I got one plan.
The question, Liz, is there a gonna be a night to the candidate night for the board? Does Senator Awal plan to do anything like that?
If there will be a candidate forum
Yeah,
during the meeting of the board,
well, if he plans to come to the board and somewhat present, you know, his candidacy to run for office anywhere in our
Oh.
neighborhood.
I don't have the answer for that now, but I will return back to Narwhal to ask him, and then I can let you know as soon as this week, at the end of this week.
Okay. Uncle Dan, one more. The question from Uncle Dan is, would he like one?
Oh, would he like one? Again, Chair, my apologies. I can't answer that but I don't see why not, but I definitely will bring that question back to him.
Okay, thank you very much.
You still on this one, yeah?
Yes, Uncle Ken.
Yeah, as infrastructure chair, I'd like to go on a record to say that I have never heard of any estimate that the roundabout project would be done in 2024. Early 2025 is like a really good estimate for when the roundabout project would be done. And so I think people need to really look at the record of what are the estimates instead of people spouting off the top of their head, because I can do that too. But I have standing as the chair of the infrastructure committee. So I'd like to challenge anybody who says it was supposed to be done before 2025, please provide us with the evidence. And I'd like to hear it. Thank you. I mean, I don't like to be wrong, you know, I'd like to hear it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Uncle Ken. Uncle Cliff.
Yeah, getting back to the safety issue. At 7-Eleven now, they got only one lane going in. One lane. And for come out of that place, you can't even see the traffic. You're dead blind. The blind leading the blind. I just came out of there. I cannot see even the Kaneohe traffic. The
Yeah.
barricade is so, well, it's high.
Yeah.
In considering, you know, the area. But
Yeah.
those guys are flying.
Yeah.
Those guys are flying through there.
Yeah, I think it's clear that the roundabout is probably one of the larger concerns in this community right now. So I'm gonna let Liz go ahead and take those concerns and questions back to Senator. Hopefully we can get a response soon because I know it is impacting everyone's daily commute to and from the North Shore, especially here in Kahalu'u since it's right here in Home Central. So thanks, Liz. Appreciate your time. Uncle John, one more. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, you can hear you. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I absolutely agree with both Ken and the 2025 end date and also Clifford. I think what's the very simple and urgent solution would be to have mirror construction. DOT agree that they need to have somebody helping to direct traffic to kind of help people getting in and out of 7-Eleven while the entrance off of Kamehameha Highway is being reconstructed. That seems like a very simple solution to do. So, you know, conveying that to the project manager and put that out to all state level elected officials to follow up on. But I will do the same. I'll also reach out to Ed Sniffen about this as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Uncle John. Uncle Ken, one last quick one.
Yeah, real fast. Sunday, I went in from Kahalu'u Road into 7-Eleven and back out again. When I came out, I was very impressed with a full view of Kamehameha traffic coming to the intersection. And I thought, well, you wouldn't need to say anything about this, but since there's so much hullabaloo about this, I'm going to say, I couldn't believe you could totally see, which is a difficult when I come in and out and go get the newspaper or whatever. I couldn't believe it was so open right there, looking through the blocks. The blocks were all blocking on the side, but I could see perfectly right down all of Kamehameha Highway. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle John. All right. Any other concerns or questions from anyone online? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.
Moving on to Rep. Kitagawa's office. Rep. Kitagawa?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So I'll give you updates that weren't already mentioned, because we had a long conversation about the roundabout, but I did just want to quickly answer, John's question about traffic control. So, I've also been in contact with DOT about this issue. So I had shared about how people had requested police to do better traffic control, and DOT had said that they were going to talk to the contractor to figure out what the best, method would be, whether it's having more people from their construction staff or police or whoever coming out to direct traffic. So that is on their radar. So just wanted to mention that. Just want to mention a couple of events that I've been putting on and co-hosting along with Rep. Scott Matayoshi, who is borders me in Kaneohe. So we just did an e-waste drive in June, which brought in a whole lot of e-waste and other donated items. People could donate clothes and canned goods and glasses and all of their e-waste that they didn't want anymore, including TVs and computers. So we had pallets and pallets of those that got donated and recycled. And we were also able to collect a whole lot of eyeglasses, which were donated to the Kahalu'u Lions Club. And they send that off to foreign countries to help people with their vision needs. And then we were also able to use and collect all of the items from this e-waste drive of canned goods and food items that we donated to Key Project for their, to give away to the community. So that was a great partnership that the e-waste program had. We had it at Castle High School in June. And then I just want to mention that we are doing our 4th annual Castle Complex School Supply Drive this coming weekend at Windward Mall. So this will be our 4th year doing it. Over the past 3 years, we have helped about 1,500 students in the Castle complex, including 8 of the elementary schools, King Intermediate and Castle. So we're hoping for a successful drive again this weekend. We'll take any school supplies over the weekend, as well as monetary donations, either in person or online. We'll be at Windward Mall Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. at a table in Center Court. And then on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Somewhere near Center Court, because there's a farmer's market, our table will be probably a little off to the side. So just wanted to mention that we really appreciate your support, and it helps the students and the teachers in our community get off to the right foot this fall semester. And then I also just wanted to highlight one more thing that I had just found out about. I got an email from WCC. They will be doing a little fire ant workshop to kind of educate the community and share about the issue. It's still happening in our community. And so they will have one at Windward Community College Friday, July 26th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So anyone who wants to learn more about little fire ants, information on what you can do, what's happening, if you have questions, this will be a great place in our community to be able to do that. So just wanted to highlight those 3 events, and I can take any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Rep. Any questions for Rep. Kitagawa's office? Anyone online? Uncle John?
Yes, mahalo. Lisa, I really appreciate your report and the follow-up with DOT, but also the little fire ants. I sat in on a Oahu Invasive Species Committee meeting maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I sure wish I had recorded it. Nate Doobie, led the meeting, providing just tremendous information, went for like an hour and a half straight. The only hesitation was when he had to cough and drink a little bit of water. But he was touching on, and everyone who was there really well informed, but he was touching on not just LFA, but coconut rhinoceros beetle and so on. And so I just, I just voice a concern. You're well aware that the governor vetoed, didn't veto, he cut back on the amount of funding that went towards DOA from, I think, 20 million to 10 million. That's a concern. We've all been fighting so hard, and budget and funding is such a huge need to not only help to cover positions and materials and everything else, but funding beyond Department of Ag, funding for Hawaii Ant Lab, funding for the Hawaii Invasive Species Committee folks, and also attracting staffing that is at a high level that's going to stick, through all of the different invasive species concerns. With respect to CRB, it seems clear to me, I know there's a lot of efforts to try and do things like netting and, pigs to, route out grubs and whatever, but the real need is funding for research for a biocontrol, a biological control, and that takes years. So we have to get started down that road. But so just that, I will bring this to the Windward Community College event as well. But I think it would be really good for us to be, really giving the Invasive Species Committee a chance to inform us. Bring the governor to Windward Community College, kicking or screaming, bring him, because he needs to hear what OISC was actually putting out there. Really important. But thanks very much for your help.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, and for sure, invasive species biosecurity was a huge issue for me this year. We worked really hard trying to get money for that, and so I am disappointed that it got vetoed. I'm glad the whole bill didn't get vetoed, but we will continue to work on this in the future. So it was one step, and I'm glad we made some progress, but we will continue to work on it.
Okay, can I add one other thing, Parker, real quick? So looking at the funding need, the state is peanuts compared to the billionaires. And I've said this before, the billionaires who own large tracts of land throughout the state. Mark Zuckerberg, in one night with some stock market change or whatever, became $29 billion richer in one day. And so I think that the governor, the mayors, the elected officials really should be reaching out. Let them hear from OISC as well, not OISC, but all the ISCs from each island. But we need to make an appeal to those who really have the means. Imagine what, 1% of what they have invested in Hawaii would make. I mean, they should be able to fund the work that needs to be done, the staffing and research and so on, for the next 10 years. With the stroke of a pen, so easily. Start with Pierre Omidyar, who underwrites Civil Beat, go and has been helping to fund lots of efforts, but and move on to people like Steve Case, who comes from here, who's AOL and so on. We need to reach out to those with means. The community, the state, the county, we don't have those means. And so let's be brave. Let's go tell them, hey, we may have rubber slippers, but we're same like you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Uncle John. We had a hand up earlier. Was Donald's up? Donald, yeah, go ahead, Donald.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Lisa, for your report. Don Sakumo. I just want to know, with the legislature coming up for next year, is the House plan to do a town hall meeting with the residents, with the House representatives, like in the past before, so we can bring up concerns for next year's legislation?
I don't know. I mean, we usually do one. We have in the past. That would be something I'd have to work with the other legislators in Kaneohe where we usually have done it. So I would have to get back to you, but I don't want to commit to it because that's not just me doing it. But it's something we have done, so I can definitely bring it up.
Yeah, it would be great. And thank you for being the vice chair for Finance Committee. So kudos.
Awesome. Thanks, Donald. Uncle Rick, go ahead.
Lisa, last night we heard about this knucklehead that got caught with several bags full of baby snakes. I mean, tens of snakes that he was, I guess, trying to bring into the state. Perhaps you could think about some legislation next year about preventing individuals that even attempt something like that from ever coming back to Hawaii again. Mahalo.
Thanks for the suggestion.
Thanks, Uncle Rick. Appreciate it. And thanks, Rep. Any other questions or concerns from people online? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Rep. You have a good night. Appreciate it.
you.
Thanks for your time. Moving on to Wimmer Community College. Do we have artists online? Oh no. Okay. Okay, no artists. So skipping Wimmer Community College. Moving on to the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council. Uncle Cliff, anything?
Oh. Yeah, we didn't have meeting. Our meeting all stretched out already, but it's not. Well, they caught a few boats because they hired workers, and down at the pier they logging what boat go out and work on for the commercial guys, but it's real creeping along. They're creepy crawlers. So this gonna be another 5-6 years before. And I think they got a new, what is his name? Retired. So from what, Dobar? He got out. But Megan is the new director. So I think Megan should be really easy to work with than other.
Right on. Thanks, Uncle Cliff. Okay, moving on to Rep. Takuta's office. Anyone
Hi.
from Rep. Takuta's office? Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Emily.
Aloha, Chair and members of the board. I'm Emily Natori, Community Relations Manager for Congresswoman Jill Takuta. We are delayed in sending you our monthly newsletter, so we apologize for that, and we will send it out to the boards as soon as it is ready. Congresswoman Takuta introduced the Lahaina National Heritage Act recently, which would direct the National Park Service to work with local partners to study the suitability of designating Lahaina as a national heritage area. She also recently introduced the Native Arts and Culture Promotion Act, which would allow the National Park Service to award grants to a greater variety of Native Hawaiian organizations that are studying and promoting Native Hawaiian culture and art. So since the program started receiving appropriations again 3 years ago, Native Hawaiian organizations have not been able to access it because of outdated statutory requirements. So the Congresswoman's bill would seek to correct that. Congresswoman Takuta recently visited several health centers, including Ko'olaloa Health Center and also the Queens Medical Center, Wahiawa. She has also convened talk story sessions recently with healthcare providers and other stakeholders to discuss the needs in rural and remote communities. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Emily. Any questions for Rep. Takuta's office? Anyone online? Okay, seeing none. We're all good. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Final announcement coming from the Kaneohe Marine Corps Base, Auntie Christie.
Hi, good evening, Neighborhood Board and Chair, Christy Kaluhiva with the Marine Corps Base Hawaii. I have a couple of updates since we missed our June meeting. We also got to participate and support the FESPAC with having all of the Polynesian voyaging canoes dock and moor at the Marine Corps Base. And this was in support from letters from the Ko'olau Poko Hawaiian Civic Club, the Ko'olau Foundation, and our base CO. The Foundation and the Civic Club both wrote letters in support of the CO requesting and asking for Nainoa and the Polynesian Voyaging Society to attend. It was a very beautiful ceremony. Nainoa came. We also had our representatives, both Jill Scott and our Senator Kyoko Lole also were all in attendance. The MC for the day was Dr. Frank Kapu Hewitt. And we had our halau from Kopua Deleri was also in attendance. It was a beautiful day and beautiful, it was beautiful seeing it, all of the va'a, one Tahiti, one Cook Islands, and then all 5 Kukulea, Hikianalia, Makali'i, first time in 10 years sailing from Polynesian Cultural Center. We had Sepa. All 7 were moored over on the Marine Corps base. And what it really showed was a combination and that the community together can collectively work together. Maybe not all agreeing, but we can all work together. And Nainoa's speech, he shared, he goes, you know what, we're breaking a lot of rules here, but it showed a collective. So that's a good one. And then this weekend, we're also hosting the Kaupiko Canoe Regatta. This is Huinalu's Canoe Regatta. This is an open base event. So if you want to bring your families to observe this race, it's beautiful over there. And all of the paddlers, myself included, this is the most even course, the most fair course, because there's no assistance from any waves, any currents, and you know, the one part's not shallow and one part's not deep. Everything's all the same. So everybody says it's the most fair course. With that out of the way, to the business at hand, and that is everybody's concerns with RIMPAC. We are full into RIMPAC exercises, and this will continue for the month of July, with everybody pulling out and leaving the last week of July and first week of August. We do have an increase in air exercises. This year, we do have quite a number of aircraft that we haven't had in previous years. So with that in mind, in addition, we also have had some changes to our communication systems. We've got to upgrade, so there has been some changes. If anybody has called or attempted to email any concerns, there may have been some delays or things may not have gotten through due to those upgrades occurring over the last couple of months. But I have that I will leave over here to report noise concerns. It has the new phone number as well as a link, a QR code that will bring you up to an online form that you can just fill in all the information. And that the online form is really the best way because it has all of the information that is most useful for us to help get that information up to the chain of command, so that if there are changes that can be implemented, then the information is properly we have that data. And with that, that is all I have for tonight. If there's any questions.
Thanks, Auntie Christy. Any questions? Jesse, go ahead.
Thanks, Auntie Christy. You know, Uncle Ken was talking about when we were with Councilmember Kia Aina about MCBH's wave energy technology. Do you think that you could be the liaison to find out who facilitates that or who's in charge of that, and maybe they could jump on that Waimanalo meeting?
Yes, I already have a note to request some of the data information on that.
Sounds good. Thanks, Auntie.
Mhm.
Uncle Rick?
Hi, just as a reminder, a couple of years back when we had the RIMPAC going on, the hydrofoils got close and went over the reef and damaged some of the coral. So if we could remind the operators of those vessels to please avoid that. Mahalo.
I know our environmental, this is what I tell everybody, and I do it in response to our environmental department's oversight. I call them Nazis because they are you know, they monitor those things closely, but I will bring that up, that the community is watching.
That's Rocky.
This is here's one to add one more thing. I'm glad that the Kahalu'u Civic Club and the Kahalu'u Foundation partnered in inviting the FESPAC to participate into the Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station. Because if you remember now, Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station was built in 1917, and this is a historical event because it was the first time in our history, in my lifetime, that it was opened up. Because Pu'o Hawai'iloa, the Pu'o on Mokapu, is a voyaging marker for the voyagers coming into this bay. And it was the first time, and Nainoa Thompson mentioned that. He mentioned how before when they first started, in the very beginning, how he felt this animosity towards Mokapu because they couldn't utilize the markings of Pu'o Hawai'iloa. And this time, for the first time in our history, they were taken up there, and Kapaikapo Kalani Hewitt did a workshop on Pu'o Hawai'iloa to share with everybody there. Hello.
Awesome. Thank you, Auntie Rocky. Uncle Dan, you have something?
No, there's nothing been discharged. So I've requested that if there's anything, they let me know.
Every month, it's actually out. This week, it's city more than he would help with speed something, right?
I know you had requested if you could visit the processing center.
Whole rescue place that the entire board. See,
Mhm.
new construction of housing, which will increase the outflow of sewage system, which they're going to let me working all the time. And you know about that because today is pretty much biologically out of control. It's posted in this.
I can follow up.
So I like to have a city. So that we can see and understand.
Okay.
So on June 21st.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hey, sorry, Uncle Dan. Folks online can't hear you. Thank you.
So on the 21st of June, which was a Friday, I was out at the regional park and I was taking my walk and I was watching the Predator drones, which have nobody in them, going around and around. And I happened to notice that the Honolulu Fire Department was also practicing with taking people off the side, taking firemen up to the top of the mountain and back and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And all the RIMPAC planes were going around at the same time. So this is kind of frightening for me because when you go up to the top of the mountain and it's all cloudy, it becomes IFR, which means you shouldn't be there, unless you have instruments. And I don't know if the helicopters have instruments. I'm pretty sure the Predator drones don't have anybody in them. And so I was wondering, I was delighted to see that the Coast Guard is included in RIMPAC. Could you find out if the local fire department schedules their drills around RIMPAC drills and around the drones that are now living in the air over the Kaneohe Bay? In other words, these are the very large drones, and I don't know, how they're controlled or from where they're controlled. But I do know that the pilots who are joining us from RIMPAC have not been in the mountains before, and I'm sure the firemen who are doing their normal Friday drills by, on the, Kahalu'u Regional Park, there's just a possibility of a bad event. And I would like to have the opportunity to report that directly to a uniformed person at our meeting because we're there all the time. And I know there are members of the board who watch what's going on, helicopters and airplanes and all kinds of stuff. And it's frankly frightening. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Uncle Dan. Donald online? Donald, go ahead. There we are.
Yeah, Chair, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, Chrissy, thank you for report. I just got a question about RIMPAC. Are there going to be any night maneuvers with the aircraft on the North Shore off the ocean, like ospreys or anything like that, making a lot of noise? If you can elaborate, if they're going to do any night maneuvers.
I know they have permission to train at night up until midnight. So the possibility is yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Donald. Uncle Ken?
Yeah, I have been required to make myself knowledgeable of how the Marine Corps Base Hawaii tower operates. And believe it or not, my house is on the line where the tower has control. So basically, any of the aircraft that are between the base and the Ko'olaus, the poly, are under the control of Kaneohe Tower, which is like any urban congested tower. All aircraft entering the airspace have to check in, be given a path to follow, and they exit, and they're not relieved of responsibility until they exit on that path. And so everything is highly monitored, including the drones, those what is it, Raptor 9s or something. Anyway, they are operated by guys, possibly even sitting right next to the tower. I have no idea where they placed the fellows, but anyway, they're in operations in constant contact with the tower, and the tower is the radar for the entire area until it's turned over to Hickam, Pearl Harbor on the other side of the mountain, and Honolulu airport. So there is no shortage of control of all the aircraft, no matter what the source. And part of the training is to make sure with RIMPAC, part of the training is to make sure they do a good job. So I certainly hope to hear something from Marine Corps
We'll make sure that you
airfield,
get
from the Air Force, I mean, from the Marine representatives from the tower. That'd be fine, but they should be a receptive audience, because it's like we don't even have near the congestion that they experience, but this is as much as we can put the stress on them, which is what the training is good for. And I'm sorry to take up so much time, but yeah, I'm sorry, but it's very well managed. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Uncle Ken. And that looks like everybody online. Okay, thanks, Auntie Chrissy. Appreciate it. All right. Since we do have quorum, we're gonna go ahead and go on back to agenda point number 3, which is filling of vacancies on the board. We still, as of right now, have 2 vacancies for Subdistrict 6. Do we have anyone in person or online who would wish to join the board to represent Subdistrict 6 of Kahalu'u? Seeing none. Oh, hi. Explain. So Subdistrict 6, what is Subdistrict 6 broken down to? That's like, so that's like Ohui, no, that's, so that would be like Ohuimona Road across the Hokuloa side. And there's a more specific map on the neighborhood commission website that will outline the sub-districts of each neighborhood board. And so if your address falls within that sub-district, you're more than welcome to basically sign up since we have vacancies for the sub-district. So we have, you would just come to the board, just show ID, basically. Yeah, you would just verify your address. Oh, yeah.
Still be part of it?
Oh.
You don't live on the valley side and then others the market is the school side. What's your address? All the way back to the road? No, no, that's a bit of way up. Yeah, so you're talking about down, go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time supermarket.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, but the sub-district, technically for sub-district 6, it would be that back road that goes behind Times and all of that. Yeah, but your address would actually fall in sub-district 4. So just to further verify, you know.
Oh, okay. So I would be the one to verify. So let's say you want to join, right? I can check your address with the ID, and then I will let the board know. Well, you know, everybody in public know. And then if you do fall underneath the subdistrict 6, one of the board members will need to nominate you. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rachel, for the clarification. Let's see. So moving on to community topics. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, moving on to community topics. First on the list was Ho'okuloa crosswalks and speed bumps. Long story short, I got emails from the Ho'okuloa residents and resident manager requesting that speed bumps and crosswalks be put on that back road going around Ho'okuloa due to speeding. A lot of kids. There's a pretty large park over there. People walk their dogs. But we did want to go ahead. They said they wouldn't be able to attend tonight's meeting. So we'll just go ahead and push that for another time so that they can formally come to the board and present their case either in person or online. So moving on to the Kahalu'u fish. Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions? Yeah. I'm not sure. We have to go double check on that. Yeah. We can I can have Rachel follow up on that first. Yeah. Yeah. We can have Rachel follow up, get clarification. Moving on to the second point on community topics, we have Kahalu'u Fish Pond Luau. We did have a community concern, and this was agendized by request of Member Jardine and Member Makaina. So did you guys want to touch on it or?
What am I? Is this on? If Member Jardine has something, if not, I think we can wait for the bulk of things next meeting. I believe we're going to have a DPR rep here. DPR, DLNR. I'll leave that to Member Jardine if she has anything. Or also Member Machado might have some things to add. Thank you, Chair.
I see Uncle John's hand up. Uncle John.
Yeah, I spoke with you earlier, and I'm wondering, and it goes to Jesse and Yaka as well. Is it triggered this coming up? Some kind of a request for a permit or something? I'd like to know that, and if so, then I think that should be circulated to board members. But I did speak with Linda Wong today, actually yesterday as well. We've been interacting with her from a key project basis because of a program activity that we're having over there. And she told me that she couldn't make it on short notice. She had some other scheduling conflict, but she will be here. She will be able to be present for the August 14th meeting. So I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Thanks, Uncle John. Appreciate it. PE, anything you wanted to say? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to chime in, and I guess the reasoning behind asking for this topic to come to the board was for yes to have the owner of that space come and talk to us kind of about the manao behind this. And you know, we had to find out that this event is taking place in our community via social media, instead of them coming to the board and letting the community know that this is something that is coming up. So it was more of like an informational request and then opportunity for board and community to ask questions and chime in and be educated. And I don't know if Member Machado is still on, but I know he also had concerns, so I'll pass it back. Mahalo.
Yeah, I'm here. My concerns were in line with Hiyaka's. Was I was being sent like multiple direct messages on social media with the advertisement for the luau, and I was just curious, like something like that could potentially impact the community, either positive or negative, like just started like there was no conversation about it. It just kind of, here it is, we got like these ads, we got these promotional things, it's marketing on social media, but like the community at large didn't really know anything about it. Normally I just was thinking that like normally if something like this happens, they normally present it to the community board just to let everybody know. So like that's why I just wanted to get more clarification on what goes down there, how it goes down, how it's going to be controlled, how it's going to impact the community at large. And yeah, that's all.
Thanks, Keone. Auntie Rocky?
I think we had this discussion years ago when both Linda and at that time was Danny Kelly Kinney with this neighborhood board. They did come before us, they did do a presentation. I don't know if you were still in elementary or what, but it was passed for the and just so happened last week, my son and I was driving by and I said, let's go slow. Because he said, oh, a party over there. We rolled our windows down. I didn't hear anything. And it was a complaint before for the community, and they fixed it. So it's good to be in, recap on whatever is happening. But they did get the okay from the neighborhood board before for the activities, and they do a lot for the community also. They donate to the nonprofits in the community. Mahalo.
Uncle Dan?
Mike, please.
In listening to Rocky, I remember being at those meetings with Linda Wong, and we were promised at that time community access to the pond for school children. I don't necessarily need to go there, but it is one of the working fish ponds that's still around, and all kinds of promises were made about community access. And I think it's important to, go back and look at our notes and remember what we were told back then when the wedding chapel was approved. Gather there aren't many people coming now from Japan for weddings at that chapel, so they're switching the venue, and that's just fine. That's their business. But I think the community has an interest in having some access to that property.
Ian online?
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, everyone. Hey, I want to, say thank you to our community and especially to Subdistrict 1 for hosting the FestPac entrance at Kahalu'u Regional Park. I mean, it was a phenomenal event, and really do appreciate the Marine base for their allowing the canoes to post up there and to sail across the bay. It was really impactful and goes back to ancient times. It is the center and the seat of voyaging, as Auntie Rocky was saying. So thank you. Now, concerning that, there were some 2 instances where Hakiput residents were walking up to the festival and were actually stopped by, I guess, recreational attendants of Kahalu'u Ranch recreational activities there on the beach at Apua Sands, below the regional park. And, but the residents all have access up along the beach, and they were stopping people saying that they shouldn't go down through there because of the recreational activities. I don't even know if it's an actual permitted zone and it's a conservation zone. So really interesting. Daniel should come up. Uncle should come up with these talk stories about the other fish pond and access and things. So I would like to understand that better and have been asked to bring it up as a community concern. Is it a private beach, those activities out on the fish pond wall at Moli'i, or and can they stop people from walking along the water's edge? So that's the community concern from Subdistrict 1.
Uncle John online.
Yeah. Thanks, Ian, for those comments. With regard to Moli'i Pond, my understanding has always been that the stretch in front of what you called Apua Sands, White Sands, it is, public access should be guaranteed to that area. With respect to Kahalu'u Fish Pond, on the 18th, and partly an answer to Daniel Bender's concern, and I appreciate that. On the 18th of this month, next week, the whole Pilina program kids from Key Project will be going down there. We've been down there talking story with Blake Komai. Blake is the sort of the steward of the fish pond itself. He works in consortium with Hi'ile Cavello and others, the various fish ponds around the bay. They keep in touch with each other. So, I think they are trying to reach out, and we have to reach out as well. We have to encourage them to allow for that access and talk story with them about programs and activities that can take place and provide assurances both directions. But yeah, this is going to be a healthy discussion. Look forward to next month's meeting.
All right. All right. Seeing no other questions or concerns online or in person, we are going to go ahead and move on to residents and community concerns. Anyone online or in person have anything that they would like to bring up? Uncle John.
Okay, me again. So
Yep, go ahead.
looking back through the minutes of the May meeting, which I think I missed, I was not able to attend, but I brought this up to you also, Parker, that Maka Bastadas brought up the concern along Huimanu Place area and so on. And I'm I think let me go back and read the minutes real quick. Let's see. So this was on page 3 of the minutes under residents, community concerns, follow up on walking path, paved shoulder for Huimanu Place. When something like that comes up, I think it's important I think she asked, I don't see it here, but I think she asked that it be agendized, and I think it would be good to do. So we get a little more detail. This would involve probably DTS, city transportation, probably Board of Water Supply, and maybe a closer look by the neighborhood board sub-area representatives to take a look. The issue, I think, is about safe access along the roadway, especially for kids, for people with disabilities and so on. So we can talk story about that later, but just want to, I texted Malka, she's not available for this meeting, but I think if we can maybe put that on the agenda for the August meeting, that would be great.
Hi, John. It's Rachel.
Hi.
I know in the May meeting, we didn't have a mayor's rep, so Chair Parker did read the memo, and then it answered the concern for her question. I don't remember the answer, but I think it answered her questions though.
Yeah, I think it sort of answered the questions. There was some response from Board of Water Supply and there are boxes there and so on. But but I've been talking with her in between, and there are still some issues. So I think if we can put that on the agenda, maybe we can dismiss it quickly or get to the bottom of what's needed.
Okay, could you have her email me and the chair so
I
that we
will.
can have that? Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Uncle John. Appreciate it. Anybody else online, in person? Okay. I think there's one thing I wanted to bring up. Especially on my street, I know it's summertime, and I know a lot of us have pets. A lot of us have dogs. Yeah, the dog's gonna get hot, so you guys want to play with the dogs and everything. But it's important to remember to keep your dog either within your fenced yard or on a leash, because no one wants to see a dog not go home with their owner. Right? I think everyone wants to just walk their dog in peace. And it's tough in spots, especially in spots that lack sidewalks, right? So it is not. I've had several people harass myself, as well as my family members, for walking our dog along Ohui Manu Road. And I believe so long as you have a leash and you're not in a park that says you cannot have a pet, and you have bags to pick up after your pet, you can walk your dog. Uncle Ken.
Oddly enough, just today, I had a guy run through my yard with leashes in hand, hunting dogs. This area, we have a lot of pigs, and these guys somehow got out of control hunting dogs. Two other guys with like 3, 4 other dogs were down there off property, but one guy ran through and was apparently he had a tag on the dog that allowed geolocation. And so he was trying. I never did see him come back out again. But there's this other issue of hunting dogs, and they let them go. But this is not an area where you're supposed to be letting dogs go. And if that needs to be addressed, let's address it. But I don't know. I'm glad you brought that up, Parker, because you live in the same area I do. And it's like in your area, hunting dogs being let go. Thank you.
Yep. No worries, Uncle Ken. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for that as well. Auntie Rocky?
Same thing happened at the Kahalu'u EV farms a few weeks ago. A dog came on our farm and ripped, actually killed one of the sheep and really wounded another sheep over there. But luckily we had cameras because they followed that. The cameras followed. They got the owner of the dog. Actually, it belonged to a young person. So we talked with the parents, and it is becoming a problem because we have that going through our properties too. Wild dogs, because I got goats. When they get wild dogs or hunters, I worry about them slaughtering our animals too, and that's a problem. Another thing is thieves around. Just this past week, a EV got ripped off. Our truck got stolen. They found the truck off of Eva Street, Burt, and one of our mules before that, the four drives the driver. We still didn't get that. But the thing is, they cut through the fence. We have cattle gates that they soldered through that. We have a big sign out. And it also, yesterday I was at a Kaneohe Bay Watch meeting, and one of the commercial guys said, they've been hitting the cars on Kamehameha Highway. Now the cars that's parking, which, they shouldn't be parking there in the first place. But a lot of cars got hit this past weekend.
It's getting bad.
All right. Thanks, Auntie Rocky. Jesse, you want to say? No, you're good. Uncle Art?
My biggest concern is when 7-Eleven in that area, there's no police officers there on Saturdays and Sunday. There is about 5 different vendors. You got a Filipino tent across the street. You got Alice, and you got the shrimp. And I'm really concerned that if we get a major accident in that area, traffic movement can be impossible because the traffic is so bad. I go to church at Waikani on Saturdays. Takes me 32 minutes to 7-Eleven. So you can see how bad that area is. And I think the mayor or somebody should be aware of it because it's going to happen. Thank you.
No, thanks, Uncle Art. I think that's important. Donald, online?
Chair, can you hear me now?
Yep, you're all good. Go ahead.
Yeah, last week, Monday, I was at a friend and we were passing Heia Pier and we're going towards the North Shore. And there was road construction on the right and there were no special duty officers. There were construction workers, but they weren't directing traffic. So we had to go around them on the opposite lane, which was dangerous because there was a turn. I don't know why they didn't have special duty officers watching that. That's a dangerous area. So that's a big concern with contractors, whoever. They need to get special duty officers out there to watch and conduct traffic. That's all.
Thanks, Donald. Appreciate it. Seeing anybody else online? Nobody else online, nobody else in person. All right, appreciate it, everybody. We're gonna be moving on to board business. We got annual meeting procedures on top of that as well. So we will be starting off with the election of officers tonight. We do have quorum still, right? Yeah, so we're good. Starting with the election of officers, we have the election of chair. If anyone would like to make a motion for a nomination of chair.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Parker.
Second.
Okay. So I'll take that Keone did the nomination for Parker.
Yes.
Okay. And then is there any other nominations? Oh, okay. Hearing no other. Okay. So we're gonna take the roll call vote. Just say the name of the person that you're voting for. Yeah, I know, but we have to do that. Yep. So if I do it differently, I might have to do the whole thing all over again. So this is like part of the rules. So like, yeah, yeah. Okay. So Bender, Parker, okay, and then Ige, Parker, okay, Parker, Jardine, Parker, Oliva, Saint Pincer, Parker, Lavasser,
Parker,
Lou, thank you for Parker, Arthur, okay, we'll say for Parker, okay, and then Keone,
Parker.
Masterson,
Parker.
Kanai, Parker, Raquan,
Parker.
thank you, Howell, Parker. Okay, with that, we have 12 members voting for Parker for chair. Thank you.
Molyneux. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you for your support. I know this is gonna. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, now that I'm chair again. I'm gonna take a quick pause just so that we can let artists talk because she wasn't here when we had WCC go ahead and give their announcement. So if we could just let artists give her announcement, and then we can let her go on with her night. Go ahead, Chancellor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was just writing a really long message in the chat of what I was going to say anyway. I just wanted to share this month 2 great possibilities for free education at WCC that's really relevant to our community. So the first I want to share is our Kumu Ola pathway at WCC. And this is Human Development and Family Studies, used to be called Family Resources. And the 4 classes that we offer in this pathway not only contribute to our liberal arts, can be used for transfer, but also fulfill Patch's qualifications for an early childhood instructor, teacher in a childcare center. So it's a certification that works both for college, but also for much needed early childhood educators in our community. And then the second one is our Limu Culture Program, which is under Agri-Pharmatech. We have scholarships. So Kumu Ola, the classes are free. For Limu Culture, we have scholarships available, especially for community members, to study algae and seaweed. It combines both traditional Native Hawaiian knowledge and Western scientific methods to explore key questions on Limu, Hawaiian fish ponds, and impacts on our community. So I'll put links in the chat to both programs if people are interested, and it's not too late to apply for the fall semester. Let your relatives know. And if you're interested, come and sign up. There's counselors' contact informations on both the websites to help you through the process. Mahalo nui, and thanks for noticing me, Parker. Mahalo.
Of course, artist. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it. Any questions for Chancellor? Yes, okay. All right. Thanks, artist. Have a good night. Okay. Going back to board business, election of officers, moving on to the election of vice chair. Would anyone like to nominate someone for the position of vice chair?
I would like to nominate Jesse McKay and I.
Second.
Who did the nomination?
Keone again.
Okay, thank you. And then is there any other nominations? Okay, hearing no other. Okay. So when I call your name, please state the name of the person voting for vice chair. Okay, Bender, Jesse, Ige, for Jesse, okay. Jardine,
Jesse.
Jesse. Oh, sorry, I gotta pause this real quick. I forgot to ask if Jesse would like to accept.
I will accept.
Okay, continue. Okay, Kaliba, Jesse, Lavasser,
Jesse.
thank you. Lou, Jesse, Arthur, okay. Jesse, okay. Keone,
Jesse.
Jesse, thank you. Masterson,
Jesse.
Rapun,
Jesse.
Powell, for Jesse, and Spencer. Jesse, okay. So with that, we have 12 board members voting for Jesse as vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Election of officers, moving on to the election of secretary. Anyone want to be nominated for secretary? Anyone would like to nominate somebody for secretary?
I nominate Uncle John Rapun.
I'm gonna decline. Thanks, but no can.
Can I nominate Hiyaka?
I second that.
You wanna accept?
Mahalo for thinking of me, but I will also have to decline. I don't have capacity right now.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Okay, hearing none, we'll postpone that and move that to the next month's agenda. Anyone want to nominate somebody for the position of treasurer?
I'd like to nominate. Oh, right.
Sorry. Second.
Keep on this our treasure that we already have, Bender.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I'd nominate Dan again.
Here.
Okay. And then any other nominations? Here, I think.
Move that we close it.
Close it. Okay. And then Bender, do you accept? Accept. Okay. So we're gonna take that roll call vote. Okay. So Ige, Bender, Jardine,
Bender.
Oliva, Bender, Lavasser,
Bender.
thank you. Lou, you, Arthur? Yes, Bender, thank you. Keone?
Bender.
Masterson?
Bender.
And Makanai? Uncle Dan. Thank you. Rapun?
Bender.
Bender. Towel? For Bender. And then Spencer. Bender. Okay, so with that, that's 12 members voting for Bender as treasurer. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. And thanks everybody for that. Moving on to the meeting date, time, and location determination. Currently, this board meets here at the Key Project every second Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. Not 7, 6 p.m. We just changed that. So,
Sorry.
if that is still good with everybody, we'll continue to meet on that date and time.
Is that daylight savings time or?
No,
I apologize for missing the memo.
some of the
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
parents would like to get home a little earlier, and so 6 p.m. was something by request.
And you guys can
Yeah.
come help me weed eat when I run out of daylight hours.
Can I get a motion to accept the current date and time?
Motion to accept.
Yeah, so
Reluctantly second.
Okay, so let me get my paper ready. Okay, so Tao did the move and then John did the second. Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none. Okay, and then we're gonna take the vote. So we can do voice call vote or the roll call. Easy one. Anyways, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
any of those opposed say nay. Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, with that, everybody on the board had voted for that. That's 13 members.
Thank you, Rachel. Moving to the board recess schedule. The board is allotted 3 recesses each term year. I believe the months we had off last year were December and June. We only had 2, yeah.
Sounds about right.
We never take December. Oh, okay. And 2. We're allowed 3. Side later. Okay. I think right now we'll just keep them as, I'm sorry, Uncle Bender. I'm sorry. In case. Yeah. Yeah. Who? Okay. PE?
Can I make a motion to add a recess in April? I don't know how many folks over here are hula practitioners or Merry Monarch enthusiasts, but I don't know if that's something that anybody wants to consider and have discussion about. Mahalo.
Jesse?
So while I kako that statement, we're in session, we're in ledge session in April. So I don't know that that would be wise to take a recess in April, other than for you, Chair, because you sit on WAM. So you could also just decide 1 for now and at your behest, call a recess later down the line.
Yeah, I think for now, let's just go ahead and keep December. We'll keep Christmas. Everyone wants to spend time, the holidays with their family. So we'll keep December on there. We'll keep the other 2 open for now. Just plan for that to be sometime near the middle of the year. So sometime between March to currently now, July. Somewhere between there. We'll plan for another one. But for right now, do I have a motion to accept a December recess for this board?
So moved.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, that's multiple people.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jesse did the motion? Yes, okay. Okay, and then Keone did the second. Okay, all in favor for December, the recess month for now, say aye.
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 Any of those opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Okay. With that, everybody voted. That's 13 members. December will remain as the recess month. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Moving on to the adoption of oral testimony rules. Currently, the board is to the allotted time for presentations is 10 minutes. So currently, we have the option to adjust that. If anyone has any recommendations or concerns regarding the current time, I'd like to just keep those times as is, if that's okay with you folks. That's looking across the board at presentations for 10 minutes, reports at 3 minutes, community concerns at 2 minutes, and then questions and response held at 1 minute. If that's all right with you guys.
So move.
Okay. So Tawel moved to approve the adoption as is, and then Rocky did the second. Okay. So we'll do that call vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
those opposed, say nay. And then any abstentions? Okay. So everybody voted for it to stay the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, moving on to the approval of board meeting minutes from May. This is the
Second,
as moved and seconded as amended. Rachel for the vote.
Okay. So we can do this really easily. Is there any adjustments that anybody wants to make to the minutes? If not, then we'll approve it as amended. Okay, hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, moving to sub-district reports. Sub-district 1. Ian, Uncle John.
The one thing I would throw in, and I've been communicating with Ian about this, is there's some issues about chronic burning going on out here. We'll follow up with that. I think, yeah, Ian, we can do some exploring, maybe communicate with HFD about this and the complainants. Just that. But yeah, a lot of unauthorized burning as far as I see it.
Yeah. Got some emails on that. Thanks for helping follow up. That's great.
Okay.
And again, just thank you for everyone for FestPac. It was an amazing event. And it took our whole state, and we should be proud of how we hosted so quickly and so wholly with everybody's effort and aloha. It was really a phenomenal thing to see happen. Thank you.
Good.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Sub-district 2.
Increase in derelict car activity. There was recently a derelict car that smashed into a home's fence up here on Lama'ula Road. So everyone, please just be careful for derelict car activity. Thank you.
Sub-district 3.
I gave my report earlier, but I would like to also make an announcement that our Koala Foundation, just this past Saturday, we lost our president, who I thought was the most delightful, most prestigious maestro that we had in this century in Hawaii. That it was a delight serving under him as being our president. So we'll soon be having another president. That was Maestro Aaron Mahi.
Thanks, Rocky. I know.
I got something.
Tony.
It just touches based on what Jesse said about her sub-district. Around here, especially in the straightaway by the Haiti Boat Harbor. And then there was an incident just recently where I believe it are like vehicles that like people live in their cars. While the Kaneohe Canoe Club was paddling in their regatta, somebody lit a pile of tires next to their clubhouse, next to their storage house where they store all of their gear in their shed. And then there's a few canoes, but it was also posted on social media where it was like a pile of tires that got lit on fire. And a couple of people came over and did their best to put the tires out. But there's that. And then also it was a construction, there's a there's construction being done over on Cam Highway before Hunalepo. Jesse has brought it up in the past, so have I. And they're still kind of just not being on point about traffic control and having people there, you know, that are watching while they're unloading materials and things like that. So I just wanted to give that report on that. It still hasn't really changed. But yeah, just, you know, when you're coming around this back road over here on Cam Highway between the pier and 7-Eleven, just be careful.
Oh, thanks, Keone. Uncle John.
Just real quick, I want to echo Rocky's comments about Aaron Mahi. You know, Aaron headed up the Royal Hawaiian Band, and for many years he attended our neighborhood board meetings. And you know, we're really going to miss him. He was an amazing figure for our community. And then also with Jesse's area, sub-district 2, the bridge by Hayamoa Stream by the art supply, it's the most amazing. This is the pedestrian bridge. It's the most, I think it's probably been destroyed 1,000 times in my lifetime. Somehow that keeps getting knocked out. This last time they really destroyed it. And I think Jesse, it would be good, maybe you could follow up, but to contact Department of Transportation and HPD and get a report on just how many times it has been taken out. Something needs to happen there. There is you know, many years ago, we pushed for a pedestrian walkway to connect up Kahalaya to Kahalu'u Regional Park. And now with conversations starting to happen about the other side coming from Mahui Manu to Kahalu'u Regional Park, now is the time, I think, to bring that up. But those kinds of reports would be really helpful because it demonstrates just how dangerous that section of highway is without a good pedestrian or a bicycle walkway. So anyway, just that. Thank you.
I will inquire with Ed about that because I have reported that bridge busted up several times myself. I think they fixed it like 6 times just within this past year. And then maybe we can push for that walking path, especially with the roundabout construction. Maybe we'll be more likely to get some kind of, I don't know, something more reinforced in the area. Thanks, John.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Sub-district 4, Uncle Ken, anything you further you want to
Yeah, I'd just like to add to Jesse and John, contact Lee Gomes right there at the bottom of Waialehua Road. She constantly complained about that bridge, constantly. So you'd have a big supporter in her if you want to bring somebody from the business community. She used to be a board member, by the way. So
Can
if
you
you want
send
to
me her
include
email,
somebody
Uncle Ken?
from the business community, I'm sure she'd be happy to contribute what she has to say about that bridge.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Can you try that? Can you send that email over to Jesse, Uncle Ken? That way she can get that moving. Okay, Sub-district 5. No. Sub-district 6. We have no one on. Okay, moving on to announcements. We got the regular next regular board meeting is going to be next month. It's going to be second Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, 6 p.m. here at the Key Project.
Call my chair.
Oh, yes,
I was too slow to raise my hand during sub-district reports. I just wanted to report very quickly on Monday with Kahalu'u, Kahalu'u in collaboration with Pai Pai Ohe'ia, Papahana Kua'ola, and some of the folks from Hanaipu, which is like a trio of nonprofits that created this internship program. So it's Ka'ulua Kalana, Papahana Kua'ola, and Kako'iwi, or is it Pai Pai and Kako'iwi? Anyway, all those guys, we had about 25 interns that came up into the Kahalu'u area, and we removed about little over 100 invasive inkberry that are going to be repurposed into hale. Some at Papahana Kua'ola and some at Pai Pai Ohe'ia. So if anybody in the neighborhood is wondering what all those people was doing with all of those trees, that's what we was doing. Mahalo.
All right, thanks, EE. Yeah, any other questions, concerns, announcements from the board members? Matthew Rocky?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that the Kahalu'u Hawaiian Civic Club has its 87th anniversary this year, and it's going to be on at Winter Community College, September 2nd. Then it's $50 a ticket. We give scholarships to our scholars in 96744, and this year we'll be honoring 3 scholars at the scholarship benefit dinner. This September 2nd. Actually, it's a brunch. It's not a dinner at Winter Community College. And we're online, kahalu'u.org. Mahalo.
Thanks, Auntie Rocky. Appreciate it. Yeah. With that, I think we're all good. Call that a night. Thank you, everybody, for your time.